So it is VEDA Day 6, and today is Midweek Messages, which is my weekly series here on YouTube, where I draw some tarot cards and some oracle cards, and give you some messages for this week. And the way this works is I pull some tarot cards, I pull some oracle cards, and I talk about them. My intention with these videos is for them to be the greatest good for all of the people watching, no matter when they're watching them. So if it's the day I post it, if it's a couple days later, if it's a couple weeks later, if it's a couple months later, years later, doesn't matter. Because whenever you're watching it is the right time, and I hope that whatever you find in here is what you're looking for. I tend to approach these videos, with kind of a spirit of curiosity and openness. Some of the messages contained within will apply to you. Some of them might not. All of them might. None of them might. I might say something that is totally opposite of what you think. But it's okay, because what we're doing here is just exploring things from another angle. And I don't necessarily know what your personal experience is with life right now. And you don't necessarily know mine either. But the things that we find in the tarot cards and oracle cards are all different aspects of any sort of situation that we might have in our life. So that's why I do these videos. So we have something to think about. So let's get right into it. Today's first card is Death. And Death is one of those cards in the tarot that kind of has a reputation and tends to make people a little bit nervous when it shows up. But the thing is, death in a tarot reading is really symbolic most of the time. It generally doesn't mean a literal death. I don't think anybody's dying. It's possible, though, because we're all, dying in the greater sense of things, because we're not going to live forever. Death, it's a thing. But what I get the sense of today is that death is pointing to a cycle that is ending within your life. But as one cycle ends, another one begins. So death is also about new beginnings. So this week is a really good time to consider what needs to end in your life, so you have room for those new beginnings. And if you want to take the card a little more literally, maybe contemplating your own demise is a good thing, because that can be motivating, because you know what? You're not going to be here forever. And there are things you need to get done. What do you need to do to prioritize those things? And the second card today is the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups is all about letting your heart rule you instead of your head. It's about being in touch with your emotions and your intuition. And the message I'm getting off of the Knight of Cups is to go with what feels right to you. It's to trust your intuition with what you're creating in your life. And trust that when you're true to yourself and what your heart wants, the people who are going to be interested are going to be attracted right back to you. So the Knight of Cups is telling us to show up authentically as our true selves. And that is what is going to attract people to us. And I do think the energy of the Knight of Cups can be really challenging, because I think a lot of the time we value logic over intuition in our society. And I'm not bringing that up to pit logic and intuition against each other, because I think they're both very valuable ways of processing the world. I think a lot of people like to think of intuition and logic as being diametrically opposed and mutually exclusive, and I don't think that that is the case at all. I think they're both very valuable. And I think intuition and emotional experience is particularly important when you're embarking on creative endeavors, especially, because sometimes the choices that you need to make aren't necessarily logic-based. They're just based on what feels like the right thing to do. And in most cases, doing something is the right thing to do. So trust your process. Try not to, logic your way through it too much. And just enjoy yourself. And our final tarot card is the Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles is a really motherly, grounded energy. And what I'm getting off the Queen of Pentacles is to, take exquisite care of yourself. Cook yourself some good food. Make yourself a bubble bath. Just, luxuriate in your senses. And another thing I'm getting off of the Queen of Pentacles is when you nurture and care for yourself, you do so much better nurturing and caring for others as an extension of that. And next, we're going to move on to our Oracle cards this week, and we have Trickery and Gratitude. And what I'm getting from Trickery is that we're coming up with a little bit of resistance this week. And I think that's true most weeks, at least it is of me. And what Trickery is saying to me is, how can we use the concept of trickery to trick ourselves into doing the things that we want to do that we're resistant to? Most of us have these beliefs about who we are and what we're capable of. And a lot of the times when we come up around resistance is because what we're currently doing is challenging what we believe that we're capable of. So sometimes you gotta trick yourself into believing that you're capable of doing whatever it is that you want to do that pushes you out of that comfort zone. And I think a part of trickery is suspending your disbelief. So if you're telling yourself that you can't make YouTube videos, I'm using that as an example because it's VEDA, suspend your disbelief that you can't do that. And just try doing it. And I think Gratitude is a really good card to have alongside Trickery, because when you're grateful for things, you're putting yourself in a really positive mindset. And I know some people think Gratitude is kind of hokey, but when I sit and think about the things that I am grateful for and the things that are going well in my life, I tend to feel a lot more empowered than dwelling on the things that I feel like I can't do or I'm not good at. And when I focus on all of those things that are positive in my life, like all of the awesome friends that I have, all of the cool people I've met because I've interacted with them on social media or wherever, I feel way more empowered to just put myself out there and do more than if I'm just sitting in a corner being like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, and just fretting. It doesn't do much good. So Gratitude, I find, is a great way to trick yourself into being positive and finding that energy to just move forward. Just be thankful. It's so simple. And yet, I know I have a terrible time with it. And our final card this week comes from Gabby Bernstein's Miracles Now deck. And it says, I release my need to be perfect and I center into my commitment to serve the world more love. That's a nice place to end, I think. Because you don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up and be a person and just try to share your love with people. And to tie that into kind of my VEDA experience, I feel like when I approach making my videos, I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to have the fanciest lighting and the best sound. I mean, that would be nice if I get to that point at some point, but what matters is I'm showing up and I'm being myself and I'm talking about the things that matter to me, and hopefully they matter to the people that are watching my videos. And really, I just want to spread love and positivity and empower people to get out there and do the things that they want to do. And that was this week's reading. If you're interested in the decks that I used in this reading, the tarot deck I used was the Rider-Waite, which is a very traditional deck. The Oracle deck I used this week was the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tony Hartman. And I also used Gabby Bernstein's Miracles Now deck. And in case anybody was interested in getting reading, I do both written and live readings. I have an Etsy shop with all of my written readings that you can get. My favorite right now is my $15 handwritten offering. You get one tarot card from a deck that I am dismantling, and you get a written reading straight to your mailbox. Magic mail! My live readings are $75 for an hour, and I will post the information on how you can hook yourself up with one of those down in the description section. And you can find all of the places to follow me on social media as well. I do a card of the day poll over on Instagram, for example, that you should check out. And I'm always hanging out over on Twitter. So, check that all out. Love your faces and have a great day, guys. Bye.